Hello and welcome back to Math Class with Mr. Kura. Today we're going to be once again reviewing a little bit. In this unit has a lot of review, especially because we're doing the next unit. But a lot of review here for 8th grade, reviewing some things we learned in 6th and 7th grade. We're going to be solving one-step equations. Let's define a few terms before we get into to actually solving. So an equation is when two things are equal to each other. What is a solution? A solution is the answer to the problem. A variable is like x or y. It's a letter that you see in the problem. / letter. What's the goal of an equation? To get the variable alone. We're done with an equation where we have a solution or we have an answer when we have something like x equals 4, y equals -2. Get that variable alone. All right, how do we do that? We need to make sure that we're always doing the same thing. Be sure to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. And then we use the inverse or opposite operations to do that. The opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of multiplication, or excuse me, the opposite of division is multiplication. All right, so let's go through some of these problems and walk through what we should do step by step. So I encourage students to, every time, very first thing you do is draw a line right through the equal sign. This reminds us that this is an equation that has to balance. That means I have to do the same thing to both sides of this line. If I don't, my equation is not going to balance anymore. If I do something over here on the right, I have to do exactly the same thing on the left, where the equation does not balance anymore. So we drew our line. Then here's our variable. Find our variable. Here's the variable, a positive v. So what do I need to get rid of to make that v be by itself? I need to get rid of the 8. Well, what's the opposite or inverse of 8? -8. Whatever I do to one side, make sure I do to the other side. 8 minus 8 is 0. I'm just going to cross that out. So that leaves me with a v over here. I only have a v left. Then over here I have 26 minus 8. So that's 18. My solution is v equals 18. First step, always draw that line. Then we need to find our variable so we know how to get it by itself. My variable is 3p. I need to get rid of, I want this to be alone, so I need to get rid of this 3. Right? My goal is to do something here where when I'm done, I just have p left down here. P equals something. To do that, I need to get rid of this 3. So -3, -3. These cancel. 8 minus 3 is 5. P equals 5 is my solution here. Let's go down to this one. This one's a little different. So very first thing, we draw our line. Find our variable. To get our variable alone, remember our goal is to do something here where we just have n left. We just can copy that n down, and that's all we have left. To do that, we need to get rid of -15. Well, how do we get rid of -15? We add 15 to both sides. Positive 15 and -15 cancel out. 15 minus 9 gives us 6. N equals 6. Let's do one more kind of like that one. So if we draw our line down here, then we are going to find the variable, and we need to ask ourselves, what do I need to do here to have just x left down here? Well, I need to get rid of this -7. To get rid of -7, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. If I do that, cancel those out, x equals 20. That's my solution. All right, so those were all adding and subtracting that we had to do to solve those. Now let's move down here, and we're going to either multiply or divide to solve these. So if we jump right into the first one, draw our line, and we need to get this x alone. But now what's happening to x? I'm not adding 8 to that x, right? What does it mean when a number is touching my variable like that? It means multiplication. So how can I get that rid of that 8? Well, if this means 8 times x, the opposite of that would be to divide by 8. Whatever I do to one side, make sure I do to the other side. When I do that, this cancels out or makes a giant 1 here. I'm left with 1x, or just x, equals -13. My solution, x equals -13. Draw a line down, find my variable, and then what's happening to that variable? I'm multiplying 14. Multiplying the variable times 14. Divide by 14 to both sides. And I get, cancel that out, b equals -4. My solution is b equals -4. All right, let's jump. We'll just go straight over here to this one. Now we're dividing. b divided by 18. What's the opposite of dividing by 18? Multiplying by 18. Whatever I do to one side, make sure I do to the other side. And then here we're multiplying and dividing by 18. So those cancel out or make our giant 1 and leave us with just a b equals -108. b equals -108. We'll go down here and draw our line. Here's my variable. Now, what do I do to get that variable alone? This means v divided by 8. So if I multiply by 8, that's going to cancel. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other side. We're left with v equals 16. All right, so thanks again for spending time in math class with Mr. Curra, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.